to you. What's going on, beautiful people? It is a beautiful day. It is Monday and it is time for the Master Key System. So if you're new, I'm SeaJay. This series is on the Master Key System. Techniques in this book will allow us to dive into our inner wisdom, inner peace, maybe find your life purpose in life. You know, it's full of great information, and I love talking about it, and I love sharing this knowledge with whomever is interested. So I'm going to go into the introduction of chapter 8. We're on part 8. This is week 8, and then I'm just gonna go over just a few points. There's maybe about 4 points I'm gonna go over this time. Not that many, because it's kind of really direct, and the application for this week is kind of piggybacking off of the last 2 weeks, but it's just a little more in depth. So without further ado, let's get to it.
Introduction. In this part, you will find that you may freely choose what you think, but the result of your thought is governed by an immutable law. Is not this a wonderful thought? Is it not wonderful to know that our lives are not subject to caprice or variability of any kind, that they are governed by law? This stability is our opportunity, because by complying with the law, we can secure the desired effect with invariable precision. It is in the law which makes the universe one grand pan of harmony. If it were not for law, the universe would be a chaos instead of a cosmos. Here, then, is the secret of the origin of both good and evil. This is all the good and evil there ever was or ever will be. Let me illustrate. Thought results in action. If your thought is constructive and harmonious, the result will be good. If your thought is destructive or inharmonious, the result will be evil. There is therefore but one law, one principle, one cause, one source of power, and good and evil are simply words which have been coined to indicate the result of our action, or our compliance or non-compliance with this law. The importance of this is well illustrated in the lives of Emerson and Carlyle. Emerson loved the good, and his life was a symphony of peace and harmony. Carlyle hated the bad, and his life was a record of perpetual discord and inharmony. Here we have two grand men, each intent upon achieving the same ideal, but one makes use of constructive thought and is therefore in harmony with natural law. The other makes use of destructive thought and therefore brings upon himself discord of every kind and character. It is evident, therefore, that we are to hate nothing, not even the bad, because hatred is destructive, and we shall soon find by entertaining destructive thought we are sowing the wind, and in turn shall reap the whirlwind.
So this introduction is kind of a refresher, on what we've been learning throughout this series. If you haven't seen the other videos, part 1 through 7, I would highly recommend you go look at those before you start diving into this one. But this is just a refresher. It's just telling us, how if we have uplifting, beneficial, optimistic thoughts, we can attract and manifest a reality that's uplifting, beneficial, and optimistic. Our thoughts precede action. So your thoughts are incredibly influential to your actions, and your actions are incredibly influential to your reality, to your life. And it also talks about good and evil, which are just words. And the effects of your actions can be described as good or bad, because that's what we as humans do. But there really is no good or bad, in my view. Only experiences. So allow your experiences to guide you, to inspire you, to motivate you. But don't allow your or other people's experience to make you harshly judge or become smothered in emotion toward yourself and others. Because what other people do is their experience, it's a part of their journey, it's a part of their purpose here. No matter what we think it may be, oh, that person is a bad person because they did X, Y, and Z. Oh, that person's a great person because they did X, Y, and Z. It doesn't matter. That's part of their experience in their life, and whatever they are doing today or did yesterday or whatnot is purposeful. It serves a purpose. It doesn't matter what we as humans think is good or bad, or what people do is good or bad. At that point, we're just passing judgment for no reason. Focus on yourself and your experiences, your good and bad actions or intentions or thoughts or emotions. Focus on yourself. Focusing on other people is just you molding yourself into something that isn't yourself, You putting in your mind other people's experiences and other people's life, for no reason. We sometimes can be very, very into celebrities or our favorite, person or artist and their whole life story, but yet we aren't really creating our own. If anything, we're introducing somebody else's life story or how they live life into our life, and then we're not being ourselves. We're not being authentic. Then we go through life not knowing what we want, not knowing what we really want to do in life, and we accomplish goals that are unfulfilling because we're so focused on other people and their life and how other people do things and what we think is good because we see other people maybe successing or doing good in their life, and we want to try those things, but we have never really gotten to the point where we're figuring ourselves out and what will bring us success and happiness, and it talks about Carlyle and Emerson, and what I get from that is basically don't have any thoughts or emotions of hate or any emotions or thoughts that you don't desire, because what you feel, think, say, do, intend will attract similar energy into your reality, whether it's in the form of people, emotions, situations, losses, gains. If you're focused on hate, or if you have feelings of sadness, you're going to start attracting that type of energy into your life. It doesn't have to be the same thing that you've seen. For example, if I hate that people are out here killing children, I hate it, and it brings hate into my heart, and it brings sadness into my heart, and it's what I'm focusing on. I'm focusing on the hate of the killing of children. I'm going to be attracting hate and sadness into my life. Maybe I'll get into a relationship that will bring me hate and sadness. Maybe I'll get into a job, or I'll get into a certain task that's going to bring me a lot of hate and sadness. So instead, you can be passionate about certain things. For this example, the killing of children. Maybe somebody is really adamant and wants to help children who are suffering and going through hard times. What this book is kind of emphasizing is don't focus on the things you don't desire within that situation. Focus on the love you have behind helping. Focus on the happiness you will bring the children that you're going to help. Focus on those aspects of your desires, not the negative. That's what I get from the introduction. So now I'm going to go over to number 4.
We all know that this is by no means easy. Mental habits are difficult to control, but it can be done, and the way to do it is to begin at once to substitute constructive thought for deconstructive thought. Form the habit of analyzing every thought. If it is necessary, if it is manifestation and the objective will be a benefit not only to yourself but to all whom it may affect in any way, keep it, treasure it. It is of value. It is in tune with the infinite. It will grow and develop and produce fruit 100-fold. On the other hand, it will be well for you to keep this quotation from George Matthews Adams in mind. Learn to keep the doors shut. Keep out of your mind, out of your office, out of your world, every element that seeks attendance with no definite help in the end view. If your thought has been critical or destructive and has resulted in any condition of discord or inharmony in your environment, it may be necessary for you to cultivate a mental attitude which will be conducive to constructive thought. The imagination will be found to be a great assistance in this direction. The cultivation of this imagination leads to the development of the ideal out of which your future will emerge.
All right, so this one was really nice. So, although it is very beneficial to have all these uplifting, positive thoughts all the time, it can be pretty challenging, because in our everyday lives, we are just at war with so many distractions. Television shows that we watch that give us certain ideas in thoughts and emotions. Music that gives us certain ideas, thoughts, and emotions. We go to our job, and maybe that environment isn't what we really like, so we are stressed out. We wake up and we're worried, and we're thinking about everything we have to do in the day, that we're putting ourselves out first thing in the morning in fight or flight mode, or we're breathing shallowly. We're just not doing anything in our lives that's bringing us much benefit, so it can be challenging whenever you have so many distractions. And on another hand, a lot of the distractions are entertaining. It might not be a coincidence why a lot of these distractions are so entertaining. Certain movies and shows and music is so entertaining, and it's almost addicting. Certain beats and foods and the chemicals they put in the foods that make us addicted to these foods that cause us illness. And so it can be a bit challenging. We have been programmed since birth, whether it was our parents or television or our peers or our teachers or people at church or wherever it may have been. We have been programmed to be a certain way, and we have been it so long, it can be kind of hard to reprogram ourselves. But we have to be consistent, and we have to observe ourselves in a way that I found helpful, to observe myself and kind of get to know myself and figure out the thoughts that I'm having throughout the day that create who I am, and the things that I identify with that create who I am and what I believe, is journaling. Because whenever you journal, you can write your feelings of the day, write the thoughts that you're having frequently in the day, and whenever you go back and you look at what you've been writing and who you've been becoming and all the thoughts you've been having more so in the day, you can start to reprogram those thoughts. You can start to pick up on those thoughts when you have them tomorrow, because you wrote it down, you kind of know. So then tomorrow when you start having that thought, you can say, oh, okay, this is that thought that I don't really care for. So let me reprogram it. Let me reconstruct it. Let me rebuttal it with 3 other more positive thoughts. If I have thoughts in the day that, let's just say, I'm not a good speaker, I just think that sometimes, like, oh man, maybe I don't really express myself that well, or maybe I don't articulate that well or something. And if I've been writing that and I can pick up and I remember that that's a thought that I have consistently, I can say, okay, rewind. I'm a great speaker. I'm becoming, and I am the speaker I want to be today, tomorrow, the next day, and beyond. I'm always developing, always recreating myself into the highest, most desirable version of myself I want to be. Just self-affirmations, but you have to realize that you're even having those thoughts, because some of us are blindly going through life, not really realizing who we are creating ourselves to be, not really putting 2 and 2 together of how this certain thing is causing your life to go this way, causing you to look at life this way. How these certain people in your life are causing you to be held back, or this job or whatever it is. We may just be blindly going through life, maybe because we want something, maybe money, so it's like, oh, I have to do this because I have to make the money, and I don't want to start all over at a new job. But you're holding yourself back with those types of things when you feel like you have no other options. You are a limitless being. The potential is all around you. You put a focus on something and you will achieve it. Never discredit yourself or doubt yourself. And also in 6, it talks about imagination and how it can assist you. Because whenever you're visualizing, whenever you're using your imagination, your thoughts are causing certain chemicals to be released. Your thoughts are recreating neurons in your body. You're literally recreating yourself when you are having certain visualizations and thoughts. Your mind will kind of look at that as it's happening in real life. And so your body will react, and you will start to become the visualizations and the images within your head. You will start to become that. You will start to do certain things, think certain things, and react in certain ways that correlate to your imagination and your visualizations and your ideals. If you consistently are having certain visualizations, consistency is key. But that's a way that our imagination can help assist us. We use our imagination as a template, as a guide, and we go back to that template when we tap into that certain part of our, imagination and visualizations. Reconstruct yourself. And if there's things that can help you do that, like your imagination, visualizations, meditating, journaling, going to therapy, or talking to somebody you're close to about certain things or goals, or having a vision board, whatever you can use to help you bring closer these ideals and these visions and these possibilities and your desires, whatever can help you stick to those and be consistent with them. That's what I get from 4 through 6. So now I'm going to go over to 18.
The law of attraction will certainly and unerringly bring you to the conditions, environment, and experiences in life corresponding with your habitual, characteristic, predominant mental attitude. Not what you think once in a while when you are in church or have just read a good book, but your predominant mental attitude is what counts. You cannot entertain weak, harmful, negative thoughts for 10 hours a day and expect to bring about beautiful, strong, and harmonious conditions by 10 minutes of strong, positive, creative thought.
All right, so this one is kind of a hard pill to swallow, but I love it because the law of attraction, this is one way that it kind of works. By you being what you want to be today, having the thoughts that will lead you to your desires today. For example, if you want to be a businessman, right? Don't continue to want to be a businessman. Be a businessman today. I'm not saying go and buy some property and just all of a sudden just think you're a businessman. Be a businessman in your mind, okay? Because thoughts precede the actions. So in your mind, be the businessman. Think about certain businesses or a type of business that you would like to create, or start reading upon some really successful or your favorite businessman, and how they started their journey and how they got to where they are. Have certain thoughts of what a businessman would think. Act in certain ways that a certain businessman or the businessman you want to be will act. Don't think that it's going to be in the future, because then you're always manifesting for it to be in the future. All we have is the moment. Okay, it's all the moment. It's all here. The past is still happening today. That might be a little esoteric, but parallel realities. But if you are always thinking in the past or in the future, you're manifesting things that are never going to be in your moment, and that's all we have. And also, don't get hung up on things that happen in the moment either, because this is a linear life. We're in a linear plane. Things happen progressively here. Maybe in other dimensions, other ways of life, things can happen like this. You have an intention, you have a thought, it appears. You want to be somewhere, you're there. You maybe not even have a body in certain ways of life. But here, where we are on Earth, this is a school, this is a place where we are to learn, and things are linear here. That's why we as humans have created time, so we can measure certain things. Time is not real, it's an illusion, but here it kind of helps us measure things and stick to a regimen or whatnot. But we kind of got lost in that whole idea of time, and now we are so focused on it. But don't allow for things in the moment to affect you negatively. For example, if you want to be a businessman, you're going to start attracting yourself as a businessman just by the want. And now you're having visualizations. Now you're having thoughts. Now you're taking actions that are guiding you into that direction. You might have certain things happen in your life that are going to make you think that you're not on the right path. You're going to have certain challenges come up. You're going to have certain people come into your life that you may think like, man, is this what I really want to do? But you may need those challenges to become the successful businessman you want to manifest yourself to be. You may need to have certain people in your life to challenge you and to kind of see if that's really what you want to do. That's probably what's going to happen in your life because you've manifested that. You may not think of that in that way. Like, how did I manifest this? This isn't what I want at all. But maybe you need that to direct you into where you want to go. You have to keep on keeping on. Keep the trust within yourself. So, the law of attraction is you can think of it in many different ways, but don't always think you're going to always get what you want, because some things that you want, you need to go through some things that you really don't like in order to be the thing you want and to get to where you want. So you have the mindset, so you have the strength, so you have the understanding of how to be what you want to be. Okay? You can't be a businessman today if you've never been. You won't be a very successful one. You have to go through things. You have to, you know what I'm saying? So don't get stuck up on the things that may happen in the moment. They're probably just testing you to see if it's really what you want. But as it was saying, you cannot entertain harmful or negative or pessimistic thoughts 80% of your day, and then for 20 minutes out of your day, now you're sitting down and you're meditating and you're having some type of, revelation, or now you're having positive thoughts and expect all these positive outcomes. Because 80% of your day, you're manifesting every second. You're not manifesting when you're thinking or when you're meditating. You're manifesting every second. Every action, every thought has an effect, has a consequence. Whether the consequence be good or bad, it has an effect, which is basically a manifestation. So if you are having undesired thoughts more so throughout your day, you're manifesting a undesirable reality tomorrow and the next. So with consistency and reprogramming yourself and catching yourself and observing yourself, and then you leading into having 75% of your day with positive thoughts and positive emotions, that's the point you want to get to, because you want to be manifesting your desires more so in the day than not manifesting your desires. And by doing that, you have to have those thoughts more so in your day. So if you think about it like a pie chart, 80% of your day, you're having emotions that are giving you desirable outcomes. So now you're manifesting your desires more efficiently, more quickly, more adequately. Now, if you have undesired thoughts, you're maybe watching some television show or something that's causing you to be kind of stressed out or upset or scared, and then you're listening to music that's getting you, angry, or you feel very sexual, or you're around people that they're just gossiping, or you're in an environment that you don't like more in your day, you aren't manifesting your desires, because now you're manifesting all those other things. So be mindful with how you construct your day and the thoughts you have throughout your day, and be consistent. That's what I get with 18 and 19. You can't expect all your desires to happen if you're only sitting down for 20 minutes out of your day trying to achieve them, And that's not to say that you need to meditate 10 hours a day. It's just saying, be mindful of the thoughts you have while you're at a job that you may not like. You may be working at a job you don't like, but have certain uplifting thoughts. Think about things and make certain actions and do certain things that are going to be linked to your desires. Don't allow for your moment to make you feel like you can't achieve your desires. Don't allow the moment. A lot of things in the moment are a distraction. You have to overcome the distractions, which can be challenging, because a lot of the distractions are entertaining and addicting. That's why they're entertaining and addicting. Maybe because some higher powers don't want you to achieve your desires, or some type of inner strength or inner wisdom. Who knows? But you can do it.
Successful men make it their business to hold ideals of the conditions which they wish to realize. They constantly hold in mind the next step necessary to the ideal for which they are striving. Thoughts are the materials with which they build, and the imagination is their mental workshop. Mind is the ever-moving force with which they secure the persons and circumstances necessary to build their success. Structure and imagination is the matrix in which all great things are fashioned. If you have been faithful to your ideal, you will hear the call when circumstances are ready to materialize your plans, and results will correspond in the exact ratio of your fidelity to your ideal. The ideal steadily held is what predetermines and attracts the necessary conditions for its fulfillment.
So what I get from this one is keep a hold of the ideals that you want. And whenever certain thoughts come into your mind that aren't related to your ideals or your desires, negate it. Rebuttal it with different thoughts or different actions that will help you get back in alignment with your desires. Now, it's not saying be a perfect person. We're humans. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to do certain things that aren't aligned with your actions. You're going to have certain thoughts that aren't aligned. That's all a part of growth. We can't just be perfect and just do everything we want like that. What's the point? There's no journey within that. The journey is what makes you, not the goal, not the outcome. You know, the outcome is just now your congratulations. Like, you have worked and you have done what you needed to do, and now here's the outcome. But the whole journey is really the purpose, the whole journey of you creating and you learning. That's what makes you, not the outcome. Your journey makes you who you are. So don't be down or upset whenever it may be challenging. Just look at that as, oh, look how strong I am becoming. Look at all these, challenges coming my way. That means that, hey, I guess within me, I can handle it, because I wouldn't be getting it if I couldn't handle it. So let's get stronger. Let's go through this. Have the thoughts and the ideals in your head, more so the optimistic or aligned to your desired thoughts. Whenever you get something that you don't like, or you're in an environment or people are around you that bring you certain vibes, don't look at them as evil or oh, you're interrupting with my manifestations. Look at that as a opportunity to grow, to learn something. Those people came to you for a reason. There's reasons for everything. You got in that situation, that bad situation, for a reason. Use it to your advantage. Allow it to strengthen you, because you may need this situation in order to become who you want to be. Don't look at people as oh my gosh, you're just ruining my life. You're making it so hard. Look at it as an opportunity. Not to say keep them in your life, and maybe you do need to get rid of certain people or certain habits, but don't look at them as evil or like the worst thing in the world. Just do with them accordingly. Use them to your advantage, and if you feel like you need to let things go, let it go. Let it go peacefully, with love, not with hate and judgment. But it talks about having faith in your idea. Keep on with it. Keep it going. Keep your thoughts and your desires going. Don't let anything or anyone or any situation make you feel like you can no longer achieve what you want. Keep it going. And you'll start to get certain messages, certain downloads, certain confirmations that you're on the right path. And you'll start to get more insight on what you want to do. The more you have those thoughts, the more you're in alignment, the more you keep on going along your journey, you will get more details. You will start understanding more about who you are and what you want. It will start to happen. You just have to have faith in yourself and be consistent. That's what I get from 24 and 25. So now the application.
In the last part, you created a mental image. You brought it from the invisible into the visible. This week, I want you to take an object and follow it back to its origination. See of what it really consists. If you do this, you will develop imagination, insight, perception, and sagacity. These come not by the superficial observation of the multitude, but by a keen analytical observation which sees below the surface. It is the few who know that the things which they see are only effects, and understand the causes by which these effects were brought into existence. Take the same position as heretofore, and visualize a battleship. See the grim monster floating on the surface of the water. There appears to be no life anywhere about. All is silence. You know that by far the largest part of the vessel is underwater, out of sight. You know that the ship is as large and as heavy as a 20-story skyscraper. You know that there are hundreds of men ready to spring to their appointed task instantly. You know that every department is in charge of able, trained, skilled officials who have proven themselves competent to take charge of this marvelous piece of mechanism. You know that although it lies apparently oblivious to everything else, it has eyes which see everything for miles around, and nothing is permitted to escape its watchful vision. You know that while it appears quiet, submissive, and innocent, it is prepared to hurl a steel projectile weighing thousands of pounds at any enemy many miles away. This and much more you can bring to mind with comparatively no effort whatever. But how did the battleship come to be where it is? How did it come into existence in the first place? All of this you will want to know if you are a careful observer. Follow the great steel plates through the foundries. See the thousands of men employed in their production. Go still further back and see the ore as it comes from the mine. See it loaded on barges or cars. See it melted and properly treated. Go back still further and see the architect and engineers who planned the vessel. Let the thought carry you back still further in order to determine why they planned the vessel. You see that you are now so far back that the vessel is something intangible. It no longer exists. It is now only a thought existing in the brain of the architect. But from where did the order come to plan the vessel? Probably the Secretary of Defense. But probably the vessel was planned long before the war was thought of, and the Congress had to pass a bill appropriating the money. Probably there was an opposition, and speeches for or against the bill. Whom do these congressmen represent? They represent you and me, so that our line of thought begins with the battleship and ends with ourselves. And we find in the last analysis that our own thought is responsible for this and many other things of which we seldom think. And a little further reflection will develop the most important fact of all, and that is, if someone had not discovered the law by which this tremendous mass of steel and iron could be made to float upon the water, instead of immediately going to the bottom, the battleship could not have come into existence at all. This law is, the specific gravity of any substance is the weight of any volume of it, compared with an equal volume of water. The discovery of this law revolutionized every kind of ocean travel, commerce, and warfare, and made the existence of the battleship, aircraft carriers, and cruise ships possible. You will find exercises of this kind invaluable. When the thought has been trained to look below the surface, everything takes on a different appearance. The insignificant becomes significant, the uninteresting, interesting. The things which we suppose to be of no importance are seen to be the only really vital things in existence.
All right, so for this application, it's kind of piggybacking on the last couple of chapters, but it's just in more detail. Think of an object. In this instance, it talks about a battleship. So you see it where it's at today. The battleship was complete in the ocean, doing what it's doing. You know the characteristics of it. It can shoot stuff, and then you start going backwards. Then you start seeing no people in there, no equipment. Then you start stripping it of its color, maybe the paint. And then you start going back to when people were welding things together. Then you start going back to whenever the crew was created. Then you start going back to whenever the bill was passed to create it. Then you go back to the thoughts that were going into the engineer's mind and the way they wrote out their thoughts, or the people they talked to. You go all the way back to the origin. If you don't want to use a battleship, use it in your own way. Think of a tree. Think of the biggest, tallest tree you can, and then start going backwards. Then start seeing the nests, seeing the insects crawling, seeing the bark and the texture of the bark and the tree, and then seeing the leaves falling off, and then see it shrinking, becoming smaller and smaller. See it maybe getting hit by, tossed around, or maybe another tree fell on it and hit one of the branches off. Then you start seeing it's getting smaller and smaller, you know. Then you start seeing the bark change. It's not as flaky, it's more firm. It's going smaller, 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 smaller. Then you go all the way down to the seed. And then you see the roots start to come into the seed. And now it's a seed. Or now it's an acorn. And now the acorn went back up into the other tree that before it fell. And now now you're in a whole nother tree before the acorn fell to create that tree. Just go backwards, okay? Or think of a house. Or your house. Think of your house. And then start going backwards before the paint got put on. Then go backwards before any wood was put up or any foundation. Then go backwards to the construction workers starting to set up all their equipment. Then go back to whoever started to create the plan. This is just a practice to help you, because whenever you can do this and you can have that type of detail, whenever you start to manifest or visualize your desires, you'll be able to make this detail within that. And then you'll be able to more efficiently create your desires because you have the detail. You know how to visualize, you know how to create within your mind, which then will be created within your reality in the outside world. And something that I really loved was this, 29. It is the few who know that the things which they see are only effects, and understand the causes by which these effects were brought into existence. That is so deep, because the things you see are effects. This tree is an effect because before it there was a thought, there was some action that happened before the tree came. This jacket is an effect. Somebody had a thought of what the jacket would look like, of the type of material, of the color. And now this is the effect of their thoughts, of their actions. I am an effect of the actions of my parents. Everything on the outside world is an effect because thoughts precede actions and actions create realities. Thoughts create realities. You know, everything goes back to the thought. Everything goes back to within. So that's it. Thank you all. Many blessings to you all. I really love whenever you guys talk about the book, you know, whether you're on my social media or you write me or you're on BIGO and, you know, we're talking on live. I love whenever you guys bring this stuff up, like, oh, hey, when's your video gonna drop? Or I really loved last week's video and things like that. That really fulfills me. It really warms my heart because this is just something that I love to practice and I love to read. And so I thought, well, hey, might as well share this type of stuff. And the fact that people are benefiting from this and people like this gives me confirmation, validation. And you know, it's not that I need validation, but validation is good. It is good. It's, you know, it makes me feel good. And it makes me feel like I'm going in the right path. And it makes me feel like I'm helping other people. And so I really like you guys' feedback, always. So if you ever have any recommendations, any suggestions, anything, feel free, message me, comment down in the comments. Tell me how you like this one. Tell me what I could do better. Tell me what I should do less. You know, let's interact. But thank you so much. Next week will be part 9, and we will continue to move into the versions of ourselves that we desire to be and the manifestations that we desire to manifest. And we will continue to dive into ourselves, our inner knowing, our inner being, so that we can exude love and authenticity and abundance of joy, happiness, whatever you desire to have within. You will start to exude it. And I literally feel that after these techniques, these practices, I sense more of who I am. And it's a never-ending journey. All the way up until I leave this dimension, I'm going to always be learning who I am and what I am. You know, because we are limitless beings. But anywho, you all, thank you for watching. Thank you for being you. Thank you for staying this long into the video. And I will see you next week. Much, much love. Peace and blessings. Peace and blessings.